I understand your situation. You committed a homicide, and I understand if you don't want to share any more details about it. But my question is,
you said yourself that as soon as you entered the prison, you were certain that you perhaps didn't deserve this. Have you had any during your 52 years? Have you had any time when where you had doubt in that? And secondly, have you ever seen someone that during your incarceration thought maybe that person deserves to be here?
Well, I did say that at one point. I said that I have seen the faces of evil, and I say I'm not an abolitionist at this point in my life because of that. Because we have not risen or developed yet to the point where people who make those kinds of mistakes, even if it's not a mistake, but something done intentionally, would not do it again. You know, I also said that there are exhaustive systems set up, diagnostic and evaluation, that can determine, nothing is 100%, but to the nth degree, whether or not a person is rehabilitated. And of course, like some people think that some people are playing acts, and some people do, and they're good at it. But that's the world we live in. You know, who was it? Shakespeare that said the whole world is a stage, and everyone is playing their part.
Have you ever had any doubt that you didn't deserve this throughout your 52 years?
Oh, I can answer that vehemently, no. Not once. I used to smoke. I started smoking when I was 11 years old. I started drinking maybe the same year, 11 or 12, to the point where I was an alcoholic at that age, going to the hospital, getting my stomach pumped out, drinking every day. I graduated from that to weed, started smoking weed. Graduated soon after that to using illicit drugs like heroin. I don't do anything today. I don't do anything illicitly. I don't even take aspirin. But thank you, Lord, for putting me in a body that has not gotten me ill. I don't have any debilitations like that. So I knew when I stopped, and I said to myself, no, you can't do this anymore. It's not the right kind of way. It's not going to give you any benefits. And I stopped. Now, and I know everyone will not be able to do that. Some people need help. Some people need therapy, 12 steps, rehab, those kinds of things. And if they work, try them. Go at it. But I know myself. It took a while for me to understand, to delve deep, and it says, who am I? Who is Irvin? And when I came out of that cave, I knew what I wanted to do with my life.
I understand your situation. You committed a homicide, and I understand if you don't want to share any more details about it. But my question is there any advice you can give us so that none of us ever have to find ourselves in the situation that you were in?
Oh. Succinctly, stay on the path and the course that you're on, because you're doing something magnificent. You're doing something wonderful. You know, you're not in the streets. You're not necessarily, with rare exceptions, hustling and in the game, walking around with the pistols on you, thinking that you're in the Wild Wild West. And if you're not, then you need to stay there. Follow the advice of people that you know without a doubt are wiser, older, and more experienced than you, when that advice is to your benefit. Again, everyone in this room was raised in a family or in a community of sorts where you know right from wrong. Those are the most basic two things. We know what's right, we know what's wrong. Stay on that right path. Whatever that is, stay on that right path, and don't let anyone dissuade you otherwise.
Well, first of all, before I even ask my question, I'm gonna just tell you, Irvin, I really respect you for who you are, and I'm not saying that I condone murder or everything.
I know that.
But I'm saying I respect you for your change, and I can clearly see that you changed. 52 years in prison would change anyone, of course. And I really appreciate you for coming here and sharing your story with us, even though you know that you're going to receive a lot of negative energy from other people. But you will not receive that from me. I respect you to the fullest extent.
Thank you, sir.
And my question would be, so I know you said you believe in a higher power and stuff like that. Do you believe that you were put here for this specific purpose? Like, you met Sam and his wife, and now you're here to speak to the youth about this situation. Do you believe that this is...
I understand what you're saying, but again, remember a little while ago I said, I am not... I have so many people that say, well, you're home because you're exception. You don't fit the mold. You're something else, Irvin. God or whoever that higher power may be, the universe did not single me out and say, look, I'm going to put a divine spark in you so that you do great things. No, at least I don't believe that. What was given us and given everyone in here is the ability to choose. And I choose to do what I'm doing. Again, I know the difference between right and wrong. I know what can help some people and what can hurt them. I try not to do what can hurt anybody. I try to do what I can do to help any and every one. I went to prison when I was 22 years old. It was a time when, unlike today, my peers were not making babies like you guys, or like people are making them today. So I had no children when I went to prison. And I'm in prison for 52 years. So I come home, I don't have biological children. I just don't. But I have hundreds, literally hundreds of sons and some daughters that are in my life every day. These are people whose lives I have touched or impacted in some kind of way. And I do this not for the benefit of reciprocation, but I do this because they deserve it. They deserve help. They deserve guidance. They deserve mentoring. They deserve advice. They deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. And one of the ways I did that was through education, like you guys are doing. So invaluable.
And just to add on and amplify what you just said, you've said many times to me, and also connects to your question, that if you had had a mentor, how different your life would have been, right?
Man, I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that wholeheartedly. If I had someone that had guided and helped, at least said, come here, Irvin, sit down. Let me talk to you about the path that I see you embarked upon. Instead of that, do this, do that. I believe if that had happened, but who knows? I might not be sitting here today.
You wouldn't be sitting here today.
So
who knows what you'd be doing?
I don't know how good or bad that was.
So what's the next person with a question? Right back here.
During your time in prison, you met a lot of people. Did you meet anyone that you thought was beyond saving, irreparable, or just, man, if this guy got out of prison, the damage he'd do to society, like, we can't have him out? Did you meet anyone who made you feel that way, even with the perspectives you have now?
Well, remember, why am I not an abolitionist? For that reason.
Maybe say what you mean by abolitionist, because maybe
A person who wants to see prisons razed to the ground, and I say an abolitionist today. Intrinsically, I do want to see prisons gotten rid of. I want to see poverty eradicated. I want to see illiteracy vanished, homelessness, starvation, wars, but we're not there yet. So, have I seen anyone in my 52-year experience in prison that I said, whoa, he needs to be here? Of course. Wait a minute. I've seen, as I said, the face of evil. and not necessarily all inmates, but I've seen the face of evil. Concurrently, I've also seen saints and sages and wise men walking those halls, those caverns, and they were prisoners as well.
You give an example, just like when you were like, I saw the face of evil, or here's a person that just, they need to be here. I mean, some kind of way to help us see it.
I mean, I saw people who refused to acknowledge their responsibility for horrendous things. And they reached out and blamed the world, blamed society, blamed their mothers, their fathers, their friends, they blamed their love, they blamed everyone except themselves. And I saw them on the inside do those same acts again. Because what happens out here also happens in there. You know, people are raped in there, they're brutalized, they're murdered on the inside. You know, they're taken advantage of, predated. All of that happens on the inside. And I know the guys that did this. Some of them, quite often, I'd have a talk, we'd have a conversation, we'd talk. Which is why I truthfully, I believe in redemption. I believe that a person can say, I didn't understand, and change drastically from that point, because I've seen that happen. But I've also seen guys that say, oh man, get the fuck, man. You know, no, I'm gonna do this. So again, in answer to your question, yes, I've seen people who, unless they change, unless they become someone who they are not at this particular moment, they deserve to be there.
We heard you say last class that when you got out of prison, you thought that people who were on the outside were kind of sad, right? So I was wondering if you could expand on that.
Kind of sad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. One of the things, it's not that many things that surprised me when I came home, when I came back out to the world, because this is what we call where we're at now. We call this the world, which is pretty much the same thing that the young soldiers called coming back home when they were in the midst of war. They said, boy, I can't wait to get back to the world, because this here is a nightmare. So that's how we thought about imprisonment and being in those kinds of places, that this was the world. But out here is different, because there's so many opportunities that we don't have on the inside. Every day, every morning when I wake up, remember I said I'm a prayerful man, I say prayers every day. A couple of things I do as well. One, on the inside, when I woke up every day, because when you go to sleep, you dream, and every one of my dreams was about being home, being out in the world, being with my family, my mother, my father, my brothers, my community, just doing things that I knew I could do. And when I woke up, I looked around very fast. I said, oh, it was a dream. It was a dream. And today, every day that I wake, every day I wake up and I look around real fast and say, oh, it's not a dream. It's not a dream. And I'm filled with joy. I'm filled with exhilaration. I'm filled with promise. I'm filled with the idea that this day is another day that I can use to become and be a blessing in someone's life.
But what about the rest of us? What do you see in the rest of us?
That's what I'm leading up to. And I don't see that as effusively as I think I should. I mean, because all of you guys are out here. This is the world out here. You can do anything that you want to do. Of course, we all have challenges and obstacles. They exist for everyone. But that's what life is. But you have the opportunity to address those. You have the opportunity to, whatever you see in yourself, to touch and help it, nurture it, make it grow. Or you have the opportunity to look in yourself and see those places that are weak and fragile and address those as well. So my question is why are people so sad? Why are people so depressed? Why are you so depressed? I wake up, I go to the door of my apartment. I live in an apartment, it's State College, little joint. But for 52 years, I lived in a toilet, 6 by 7 with another man, a bunk bed, a table, the toilet right next to my head. So you're locked in quite often. So if you're locked in with a cellie who is sick and ill, diuretically so, what do you do? And you're laying in bed and he comes to sit on the toilet. I'm sorry, what do? You turn over, put the covers over your head, and you bury it. You don't have to do that out here. My little apartment, I get up and I walk out of my bedroom, walk down the hallway, go to the living room, I look around, I go to the door, open the door, I can step outside and I say, oh, universe, thank you, with a smile on my face. And Cora right here beside me saying, come on, we're going outside, we ready? We're going out? I can do that here every day. I walk down to my refrigerator, and this is no joke. I grab a chair, they can put it in front of the refrigerator, open the door and just look. I look at what I have in the refrigerator, say, if I wanted to, I could have that. I could have that, I could have this, I can eat eggs, I can make this, I can make that.
So, Irvin, do you think we don't have enough challenges? Is that why
No, it's not that you don't have challenges, because you're responding to the challenges in what I think is a hurtful way. Challenges can be overcome instead of saying, oh my Lord, woe is me, oh this, not this again. We are an incredible creation, meaning human beings. We are incredible. I mean, I take my hat off to us as a species, as a creation, because we have so much going for us. Unlike the animals, we have the ability to change our own destinies. We have the ability to choose. We have the ability to think. We have the ability to create. We have the ability to imagine. And you can't say that for everything. So I tell people, I says, oh, there's so much in your life to feel blessed about, joyous about. So it's part of my message when I talk to people.
So I wanted to know, as someone who is kind of following religion and has religious ideals, and someone who's spent so much time in prison and seen, as you said, like the face of evil, what's your view on the death penalty? On can people really come back from being as evil as you can get from both a legal and a religious standpoint? And is there room for people to kind of grow, or is there people who have no chance and there's no point in even having them in a prison?
We've executed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of people. And so many of them we've done, and they were innocent. We found out whatever means DNA, recanting statements, and new evidence that was admitted. We found out that we put them to death unjustly. And a lot of times politics were involved. A lot of times the inherent racism or biasness of the system itself were involved. And people were unfairly judged and executed. So, no, I don't believe necessarily in the death penalty, because, and this is a Christian country for the most part, and it's no besmirching on Muslims or Hindus or anyone of any other faith. But generically, this is a Christian country. And even though they say an eye for an eye, they also say, thou shalt not, what? Thou shalt not kill. You don't say, thou shalt not kill unless He said, thou shalt not kill. Because I believe firmly in the sanctity of life. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. Someone would say, well, if you believe in the sanctity of life, but you kill someone, and I will spend the rest of my life every day atoning for that. And talking to people to make sure that possibly they never make those same kinds of mistakes as well.
Regarding like a term that's commonly talked about and heard in like real life stories and movies about inmates who have spent more time in prison than they have outside, that they're become institutionalized, and you leave prison and feel shell-shocked by the responsibilities of the world and begin missing the things that were involved in your life in prison. And I just wanted to hear your take on if you felt that when you left.
Well,
Can I answer this question? I think I have a better answer.
okay.
Yeah, I actually, because I am a witness, and I saw Irvin literally, not come out the door of the prison, but 24 hours later, I was with him, and an hour after that, we were at Walmart Supercenter in Johnstown, and I was shocked. I mean, that's just kind of funny. Oh, and then an hour after that, we were buying a cell phone, and he was watching how a credit card is used, but walking through the store, going through the freezer aisle, getting things out of the freezer, trying on clothes, like total normalcy from Irvin. And I know from people that worked with you, Irvin, that was exceptional. And so even though Irvin, his mission is for us to understand that there are many people behind bars that are exceptional humans, right? Good people. Irvin himself, from all that I can tell you that I watched him go through, was exceptional. And you talked about sometimes you look at the pictures of yourself from a couple years ago, and you say you can see like the institution on you.
Oh yeah, I could.
I can see that a little bit too. But it was. I can just say as a witness to every step of it, to getting an apartment, learning how to drive, getting a job, now becoming a student.
Registering to vote.
I mean, it's been amazing. Anyway, I just think that it's important to realize that the people who made your commutation possible at the governor's level recognize Irvin as exceptional. So we just have to say that. So I think
if it's quick, we can do one more question.
One more question. Now, who shall it be?
Hi, right here.
Okay, there we go.
So my question, or you've mentioned many times.
Wait, put the mic really close to your mouth. There you go.
Sorry.
Guys, the class is not over yet. Come on.
You mentioned many times that you aren't an abolitionist because of people you've encountered during your sentence. My question to you is, what do you think separates American society from places like Norway and Sweden, where they have like a rehabilitative style incarceration? And do you think that America could ever get to that point?
What separates us in the U.S. from other places like Norway and Finland?
Oh, good Lord, good Lord. When I was 17 years old, it was during the time of the Black Power movement in the 60s, when the time of tumultuous change everywhere, political, economic, culturally, music, dance, women's rights, Black Power.
Irvin, I just got this message that they have to put the quiz up, so just... I'm sorry.
Okay. We incarcerate more people than any country on the planet. First world, second world, third world, what have you. And we incarcerate them for longer periods than any other country imaginable. We need to do something about that.
Is there hope?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right.
This is hope here. This is what I'm looking at today is hope. You guys give me life. You give my wings lift and support, because I believe wholeheartedly that we will get where we need to be because of you.
Thanks, Irvin. Thanks, Cora.